So I think it is an open or mind that you have to have about it, and judge it from an open mind.
One particular criticism that emerged from that incident came from the former world champion Sir Jackie Stewart, another Briton, I'm afraid, but he said that the stewarding is inconsistent. There should be full-time stewards. What do you think about that?
It is something that we drivers have asked for many years, but it's...
Why haven't you managed to make progress on it?
We did. I mean, there is now one permanent steward, with then being supported by two non-permanent stewards. That's what it has been in the end of my days, and I think that's what it is still now. But even if you have 4 permanent stewards, they might have the same situation. They might change their opinion about subjects because circumstances have changed, or infrastructure has changed, or whatever has changed, and then suddenly they have to come up with a different point of view that maybe 2-3 years ago was still okay, and maybe now is different to be judged.
Well, of course they need to be up to speed with the rules. Jackie Stewart described them as unpaid part-time amateurs.
Well, I'm pretty sure Jackie has a lot of time, and he would offer his service for it.
Oh, you want to see Jackie Stewart standing in the...
I mean, he has a lot of experience, and I'm sure he would be absolutely the right person for
this. So that's an invitation to Jackie Stewart to come back into Formula One and be a steward, is it?
For example.
Okay. You'll have been interested, no doubt, by the Singapore Grand Prix, recently staged under floodlights. What was your take on that?
From television point of view, it looked very interesting.
Yes. But what about the drivers?
I don't know.
No.
I mean, I haven't driven it. I wasn't there. The drivers had mixed opinion, but in general, I think they all liked the idea. There was a few things that could be improved, but a new track in a city naturally will always have this. So in the end, you have to watch at the spectacle. Did the viewers enjoy it? And is it safe enough for the drivers to drive? That's the two most important points.
Yes. And how generally do you feel about the expansion of Formula One into the markets here in the Middle East and also into the Far East? I mean, you're a European after all.
It is growing immensely, and I think it's right. Why we have to be concentrated in Europe when you have a world that is interested for motor racing, for Formula One? And here is a lot of potential to build new, very interesting tracks. If you learn from all the building and racetracks that you have been doing so far, and you sort of develop the tracks into further excitement for spectators and drivers, I mean, why not? Why it should be only in Europe?
There's talk of expanding possibly to a maximum of 20 races per season, and if there were more venues in the Far East and in the Middle East, well then some of those European circuits might disappear. And of course, in Britain, they're very nervous about the future of Silverstone. What's your thought on that? Should Silverstone survive in the Formula One calendar?
No, it's not about if an individual should survive. It is about where should you race, where is the interest of Formula One. I mean, there's huge crowds in Silverstone. I really love to race over there. I always enjoyed the fans over there because in a way, there is this animosity about Germans and English, but I've never really felt this when I was doing my parade lab, when I was testing there. I always felt very welcome, and because they simply love the racing spirit that certainly I stand for.
But does it deserve to survive on the circuit?
Absolutely. So normally it deserves to survive Nürburgring, Hockenheim, Imola, and so on, because they have all traditions behind.
But these are all European circuits, of course, and you're advocating a move to the east.
But the point is that the world is changing, and you cannot stop development. That's what it is, and that's what you have to focus on.
So there's bound to be a tension, isn't there? I mean, I wonder how... Say you were advising Bernie Ecclestone on the future of Formula One. Let's just imagine for a moment. I know you have his ear. What would you say to him about the balance around the world of Formula One circuits and where races should be held?
I don't think Bernie needs an advisor, quite honestly.
But nevertheless, you have his ear, don't you? And you've mentioned 4, just off the top of your head, 4 European circuits, which you'd like to see still on there.
No, you got me wrong. I can mention even further and more if you want to. It's not about those 4. It is about the general situation. There is great tradition on plenty of European tracks. I mean, Brands Hatch, has a big tradition. And Do you think it's still right to race there right now? I think no. Maybe in future when we see all these new tracks, we will think one day maybe Nürburgring or Hockenheim are not up to date, or maybe Silverstone are not up to date anymore. So you really have to look at it step by step and year by year. And
would you say that Silverstone has to improve, though, continue to improve to survive?
I think all tracks need to, because the demand of safety, demand of infrastructure, and so on, it is something that is developing rapidly. If you look at the new generation track, if you look at the old generation track, there's a difference. Some you can always accept, and others you cannot accept anymore. But by the end of the day, it's not your and not my decision. We'll have to take it as it comes.
Tell me a little bit about the thrill of being a racing driver. I mean, is it that surge of adrenaline as the lights go green on the grid? Is it the fantastic overtaking manoeuvre? Is it the moment of spraying champagne on the winner's podium? Where did you get your real buzz?
The real buzz for me has been working with the team, developing the car to the ultimate point that I was able to drive it every lap, every moment, just on the limit.
So it's a kind of cerebral.
It is. Yes.
Enjoyment.
Just when you get there, that's when you get, and it can be at testing, it can be at racing, it doesn't matter when, but you feel and you know exactly when you maximize everything that was available, and that is what is the thrill. And once you race then and you beat the others, I mean, that's your reward for it.
Yeah. You're always at pains to emphasize the team, aren't you? Whether it was at Benetton or Ferrari, wherever it was. Why did you think, though, that you were the best? Because in the end, it was you, it's your name on the trophy.
I know, but I always tried to reward everybody that participated.
Well, just for a moment, be immodest. Just tell us why you thought you were the best driver.
No,
we take for granted the team. We understand that.
Can you give me an example where I mentioned I said I was the best driver?
I'm asking you now to think about that and to retrospectively, that you've retired as a driver.
The point is that I never said and I never thought I was and I would be.
No, I understand that, but facts tell us that you were.
That's another story, but it will be facts until maybe the next one beats the record and they think he would have been much better. And you see, a lot of people now go and talk about I should come back and I should race Lewis Hamilton, and we see then who is the better one. But what does it make? Because you see, you have to live in your time, and you have to do what you think is correct and achieve what you can achieve in your time.
Are you listening to those people who ask you to come back?
No.
It's absolutely out of the question, is it?
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, what happens, for example, here we are sitting in front of this picture of this building here, of which there are 7 planned around the world. What happens if they get to number 8 and somehow the 7 and the 8 are out of kilter? They might ask you to come back and go for an 8th World Championship. Maybe
in my new career as a two-wheel rider or something. So joke. Fact is that it is 7, that is the plan, and it certainly won't be an 8th one. We can talk about different strategies because we're thinking of, one is a business center that we have launched already beginning of this year. We now launched the Michael Schumacher World Champion Tower that is going to be placed in Abu Dhabi, that I'm very proud of, honestly, because thinking in 3 years' time, seeing a building like this named after myself, I say only wow. Yes. And we maybe think of Michael Schumacher's resorts. There's different strategies that we follow because we see a demand in this field, and we like to follow this sort of interesting philosophy. You are now in permanent retirement. You've just told us you're not going to come back. Did you choose, do you think, in retrospect, the right time to retire?
Probably yes,
yeah. Thinking of it, I wouldn't have had the energy anymore to continue. Looking how difficult the last 2 years were for me and how much effort I had to put in, I think my battery was just empty, and I still was capable of doing what I was doing, but my battery were quite empty.
What the public like, of course, is to see drivers go right out at the very top of their careers. You almost did that, but not quite, because having established those 5 successive World Championships with Ferrari, then there was a 3rd place, then a 2nd place. And there was a rumour that the Ferrari president, Luca di Montezemolo, asked you to retire and you didn't want to. Is that true?
That's absolutely not true. I mean, if you imagine what I have achieved, that Ferrari, if I would have asked for a 10 years contract, I would have got a 10 years contract, honestly. And Luca was joking around in this sense very often. No, but it is simply the fact that I felt it was the end, and I was fortunate and lucky enough to have been in the position to decide that simply for myself, together with my wife at the right moment. We looked at each other and we said, well, it's probably time.
And it's probably time now. Michael Schumacher, thank you very much indeed.
Please,
thank you very much, Nick.